Okay, do I have some more relationships I have to build? Absolutely. I've been blessed and grateful to build an organization of thousands of people all over the world. So I obviously haven't built a relationship with each and every single one of them, but I have built a relationship with my core leaders, my core group, and now I'm looking for more and more individuals. But understand, you gotta include the other person in your journey, and you gotta shift the focus from me to we. You see, at level two, that focus has a shift, okay, from me to we. You got to value the other person. You got to learn to see through the other person's eyes by asking them questions. You got to care more about the person than you care about the rules. All right. And you got to make the other person's goals your goals. Okay. And you got to practice this leadership day to day with them. Okay. This is something that just can't be a one time thing. This has to be something that has to be a continuous growth in the relationship. Okay, because now level two is that key foundation. Okay, that key foundation that's gonna get you to where you want to go, guys. And if I were you, I would identify right now. I would sit down before we go on to level three. Take a look around the friends and the family members and the business partners that you have within your organization. Okay, do you truly know these people? Do you know their stories? Do you know the reason why they're doing this business? Do you truly understand what it is that wakes them up every morning? Do you know what keeps them up late at night? You need to sit down and really identify that, because your level of leadership with this individual is going to determine your influence with this individual. Remember, the definition of leadership is super simple. Leadership is influence. Okay, so if you want to have influence with this individual, you got to develop the levels. Okay, and this is not only in terms of business, this is in terms of life. You can do this with your parents. You could do this with your siblings, with your significant other, with your coaches, with your teachers, with your boss. You can develop the levels of leadership with the individuals that you currently have in your life. But the most important one for me is level two. The moment I meet someone, okay, I know I don't want to be a level one leader with them. A level one leader is where they're going to follow me because they have to. I don't want them to follow me because they have to. I want to go straight into level two, and I want to get to know them. I want to make their goals my goals. Because, like Jim Rome said, okay, he said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get everything that you want. You help enough people get rid of their problems, and your problems will disappear. So I don't make it about me, okay? I make it about we. All right, family. So that's level two of the levels of leadership, which is the permission level, which is all based off of relationships. Now let's go into level three. Level three is the production level. All right. This one is influence on results. Okay. You see, people are going to do what you say because they know that you care now. Okay, you see, I've had so many individuals within my organization and my team in life that they say, yo, Neno, no one ever listens to anything I have to say. No one is putting in the work. I'm working harder than everybody. The reason for it is because they're not doing what you say because they don't know that you truly care about them. They're not gonna watch the audios that you tell them to watch and listen to. They're not gonna read the books that you tell them to read. They're not gonna jump on the phone calls and the training calls that you ask them to because they don't truly know that you care. But you see, when you take the time to build that level two relationship with them and you let them know that you truly, truly care about them and their goals and where you see them at in life, okay, now when you ask them to watch that training. Now that you ask them to read that book, let's go out there and let's pack out this event. Let's produce results. Guess what? They're gonna do it because they know that you care. People will only do what you say when they know that you care, guys. All right. And this is so important. This is where you're going to take the time to develop accountability for results, beginning with yourself. Okay, you got to hold yourself accountable before you hold them accountable. All right, this is where you're going to lead by example and you're going to help them produce results. You're going to help them get some of the goals that they've wanted to accomplish, right? You're going to put a goal on the board, and it doesn't have to be a big goal like hitting six figures right away. It could be something as simple as completing their first training. It could be something as simple as getting them to their first rank in that company. It could be something as simple as helping them make their first profits. Okay, it's all about helping them produce that results, right? Helping the other person find and give his or her best contribution. This is so important. This is key information. All right, you got to take full responsibility for your own growth, but also for the person's growth, because unless you grow, they won't grow. All right. And remember, you can't pour into people from an empty cup. So every single day, you must be filling up your cup. Okay. Because when you fill up your cup, now you can pour into other individuals. Now you can help others get rid of their bad habits. Now you can show them how to get rid of their distractions, because unless you've gotten rid of your bad habits, you can't teach someone else to do it. Okay, unless you've gotten rid of your distractions, how can you help someone else get rid of their distractions? This has to be something that's continuously applied. And this is why the level 3 level of leadership is so important. This is the production stage, all right? That's level 3. Level 4 is my favorite. It's the people development level. This one is based on reproduction. You see, you need to understand and embrace the idea that people are your most valuable asset. Okay? Not a car, not a house, not a phone. The most valuable asset you have is the people in your lives. All right. So you need to understand that these individuals must be developed. They need to understand the skills and the requirements that are required in order for us to be successful. You can't expect these individuals to just walk down this path with a blindfold on. Okay, you got to give these people the vision. You got to show them what's possible. You got to help them develop the skills and the belief system that they need in order for them to accomplish the success that they want in life. Okay, because like I always say, one of the easiest things you're going to do is hit the 6 and the 7 figure levels. All right, but the hardest thing you're going to do is believe you can do it. Okay, and that's what most people lack in life, is the belief to accomplish that success. The belief to go out there and do it. The belief in themselves is what most people lack. So you got to help people develop that belief. Okay, and the way you do that is by continuously, all right, developing them, pouring into them. All right, this is where you start to reproduce now. Like I said, guys, but it has to be something that starts at level 2. All right, you have to be open and honest about your journey with them. You see, I'm very, very open with individuals about the journey that I'm in. I tell them, yo, this journey is hard. Okay, but we must do what's hard now in order for life to be easy later. Okay, I help them understand that in the beginning it's gonna be hard, but why is it hard? It's hard because we gotta break those bad programs that we had installed in our lives. That not only were they installed by our parents and our friends, they were also installed by our environments, by the people that we listen to, our teachers. We've had these programs installed that now we have to get rid of. We're talking about sometimes even years and years of generation after generation that we have these beliefs installed inside of us, and it takes time to break them. It takes a continuous effort to break these generational curses. So you got to be honest with people about the journey. Don't tell people that the journey is going to be easy. Tell people, yo, this is going to be worth it.
This is gonna be worth it. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. All right, guys, let's get this call started. There we go. Let me set it up. And amazing. Well, welcome, familia. Grand Rising. Happy Thursday. Super excited to be back with another episode of Mornings with Nano, YouTube edition. It's always a pleasure to jump on these calls every single morning with you guys that I do these, because my favorite thing in the world to do is serve. And the fact that you guys give me this platform to serve, I am forever grateful for the opportunity that I get to be able to pour into you guys and, be able to share with you guys ideas that have absolutely changed my life and that I know can change your life if applied and if mastered as well. So, I'm very excited about today's call. Every Tuesday and Thursdays, for anyone who's new on this call, I want you guys to know I do these calls for free on Tuesday and Thursdays at around 10:15 a.m. We kind of open it up and we start around 10:30ish, kind of get everybody in, get everybody situated. And, I love doing these calls. This is something that I've done now for, 5.5 years. And my life consists of doing these free calls and loving and pouring into people because it's my purpose, it's my calling, and I love doing it. So I want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity, for sharing these calls, for subscribing to my channel, for being able to also send these calls out to some of your friends and families. And it really means a lot, guys, what we've been able to create here as a family, and forever grateful to be a part of something so powerful and so strong here. So I'm grateful for it all. I pray you guys are all feeling really good. My body is extremely sore. I've been I did a little boxing with Matt the other day, 2 days ago, and I've been sore. I've been so sore the last 2 days. It's like I've been sore in places that I've never been sore in. Like my hands there are sore, my arms are extremely sore, my back, everything is like extremely sore. I could barely get out of bed, which is so hard. But I feel good and I feel blessed. And, boxing is a different type of sore. I got a different level of respect for boxers now. But, it was good. It was good. It was good. So, I hope that you guys are feeling good, feeling blessed. And I hope you guys are ready to learn today, right? Put a 333 in the chat box if you guys are ready to learn, ready to get poured into this morning. Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to everybody on Instagram. Thank you guys for hopping on Instagram. Remember, guys, if you guys ever want to come from Instagram to YouTube, all you have to do is go to YouTube, write Mornings with Nano, and you should be able to find it. I think I'm under either Kevin Torres or Nano Torres. Not Karen. I don't know off the top of my head where. Yeah, you can actually find it under at Mornings with Nano. So you should be good if you guys want to come over here. But, today I want to talk about the basics. I've always, told people that, this is a lesson we always got to learn over and over and over again. And I've learned this lesson maybe 1,000 times, but every time I learn it, every time I hear it, I learn something new. I pick up something new because it reminds me how important it is to master the basics, okay? Any professional who has ever played at a high level will tell you that the basics is everything. The basics is what helps you get to where you want to go to. As a matter of fact, the difference between people who are good and people who are great is that the greats master the basics, the foundation of everything. And what I'm going to teach you guys today, some of you guys know this, some of you guys may not know this, some of you kind of know it, but this is something that has to be mastered though. And when we talk about mastering something, does anybody know what are the amount of hours that it takes to master anything? Does anybody know the amount of hours that it takes to master anything? Let me know in the chat box if you know the amount of hours. There you go. It takes 10,000 hours to master something, right? And if you think about it, there's basics that we got to master. Now, how do we calculate if we're mastering the basics? Well, you master the basics by if you are obviously putting in the reps towards those basic principles. And I'm going to talk about those basic principles here today. And I want you guys to remember these basic principles. I want you guys to master these basic principles because I don't want you guys to go through what I went through. Let me tell you guys what I went through one day. I'm sitting in the car. I'm going to tell you guys a story and then I'm going to jump into the training. I'm sitting in the car and I'm on my way to the mall with one of my mentors, the mentor who actually taught me this. And we're sitting there, we're talking, and he asks me a question. And he's like, Nano, with a weird look on his face, with a curious look, not even a weird face, I would say with a curious look on his face. He's like, Nano, what are the basics of success? And I'm like, okay, number one is this, number two is this, number three is this, and then I was like, number four. He was like, I was like, man, I don't know number four off the top of my head like that. Like I know what it is, but I don't know. He said, the fact that you don't know the basics is holding you back. As a leader, as an individual, you have to master the basics. You need to know them verbatim. You had to be like this, boom, 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 boom. You had to be able to tell me what the basics were, because that means and that tells me that you're consciously working on them every day. If you haven't mastered the basics, it means you're not consciously working on the basics every day, which means your foundation is weak. And we need to fix that. And ever since he checked me that day on the basics, I became so obsessed with mastering them, with knowing them, with understanding the definitions behind all of them. And I want to teach you guys those basics here today. As a matter of fact, I think I may have don't quote me on this, but I actually may have a PowerPoint for you guys. I do. Here it is. I may be able to show you guys a PowerPoint here on YouTube. Let's go into this. All right. So YouTube is going to get lucky and get a presentation because I've done this. I got the PowerPoint for this. Here we go. So intentions for this training. Okay. There's intentions for this training. Let's talk about it. Okay. So intentions for this training. Intention number one is turn off all devices of distractions. Okay. This is going to be a really, really good training. I don't want you guys to miss out on this. Intention number two is take notes, right? Remember, guys, note takers are money makers. These notes will be your uncashed checks. So make sure that you guys are listening with all the intention in the world. And then house rule number three and intention number three is listen with the intention to apply. All right. This is a very, very important training. So you want to listen with the intention to apply, but also you want to listen with the intention to remember and master it. All right. So let's get right into this training. All right. Basic number one, okay, is who do you listen to? All right. Who do you listen to? This is a very important concept because it relates with every single one of us that are on this call. I've always told people basic number one is who are you listening to on a day-to-day basis? And some of you guys are like, Nano, is this really the basics? This is what it all comes down to. Because remember, who is pouring into you the information will determine the reality and the beliefs that you follow, that you make your reality. So who you're listening to is very important. Now, think about it. We listen to number one, ourselves. And what do we always say? Some of us are our own worst enemies. So some of us are listening to ourselves. We're listening to our families. Okay. I want to ask you guys a question really quick. And let's be honest. How many people in your family or your friend list have the results and live the life that you truly want? If you could think of all the closest people to you, friends and family, how many of them actually have the results and the lifestyle that you truly want? Okay. Think about your friends, think about your family, think about yourself, think about the people at work, think about the people you work with. All right. Think about your neighbors, your co-workers, your teachers, your classmates. Think about the people that are around you at all times. who are you listening to? This is a very important concept right here. Because you see, what a lot of people don't understand about this is this, right? You gotta listen only to the people that have the results that you want. And it's not that you don't listen to your parents, because I love my parents. I listen to my parents. But when it comes to business, I can't listen to my parents. Why? Because my parents have never built a seven-figure business. So they can't give me advice on how to build a seven-figure business. They could give me advice on basic principles, right? My parents have gave me phenomenal advice on basic principles, on life principles, on things that they've learned and have been passed down by their parents that I've listened to and I've respected and I live by till this day. But when I started this business, my parents told me, Nano, don't do digital businesses. That stuff doesn't work. Nano, go get a job. Go be a cop. Go be a firefighter. Go do this. Go do that. People who make money online don't really make money. My friends, my college teammates, yo, Nano, go to school. I mean, they told me obviously go to school, but yo, you graduated from a great school. Go get a job. You can easily go make 50,000 a year, 60,000 a year. And I say that because my friends and my family, they were doing it to protect me. They weren't doing it with bad intentions, though. That's the thing about it too, guys. Some of the people around us are not doing it with bad intentions. My college teammates that I went to school with, right, and I played baseball with, they weren't telling me to go get a job, to make 50K, 60K a year, to shoot down my dreams. They just wanted what was best for me. They just thought that would be what's best for me. Why? Because that's all that they knew. That's what their parents told them. My mom and dad, they were telling me to go be a cop, go do this, go work for the government, go do all these things. But they were only doing that because they wanted what was best for me. That's all they know. But in reality, those individuals did not have the real results that I want. They're not really living the life that I truly want to live. Okay? Are they saying these things because they want the best for me, because they want to protect me? Yes, and it's appreciated. But it's not what I want. Okay? I want to live a life of financial abundance, freedom. I want to be able to travel the world. I want to have millions in the bank. I want to be able to live in a beautiful oceanfront mansion, oceanfront condo with Rolls Royces parked outside and traveling the world, drinking expensive wines and eating at good restaurants. And, I want to live in a great life, amazing, amazing life where money is not an issue. These individuals, unfortunately, didn't have that opportunity. So as much as I love them, as much as I appreciate them for wanting the best for me, I couldn't listen to them. So what did I start doing? I started to listen to people that had the results that I wanted. I found business partners that were millionaires, that had earned 10 million, 20 million, $30 million. I found these individuals. And believe it or not, guys, think about this. I found a lot of these people through YouTube, believe it or not, first. I started learning through a lot of these people through YouTube. But guess what? Life is actually easy if you apply this simple concept. And success is common sense. All you got to do is find somebody that has the results that you want. You do exactly what they do, and you will get the results that they have. That's all success is. Find somebody that has the results that you want. But the second part is the difficult part. You got to do exactly what they did, though. You got to read the books that they read. You got to listen to the audios that they listened to. You got to make the sacrifices that they made. You got to be willing to do what they did. Put a willing in the chat box if you are willing to do what it takes to become successful. If you are willing to do what it takes to be that individual, that example for your family. If you are willing to go out there and make the sacrifices and do the things that are required. If you are willing, you have to be willing, because you could find people that have the results, but are you willing to do what they did? Okay. A lot of people will look at me and be like, Nano, you live a dope life, bro. But my question to you would be, yo, are you willing to do what I did? I woke up for years at 5 a.m. in the morning. Okay. I've read over 100 books. I've listened to thousands and thousands of hours of audios. Okay. I've invested at this point, in my opinion, I think I've invested over 6 figures into my own personal development, including books, events, plane tickets, courses, mentorship. At this point, I've easily invested close, if not more than 6 figures into myself. Would you be willing to do that for you? Would you be willing to wake up early every day? Would you be willing to read all those books? Would you be willing to invest all that time, all that energy, all that money back into yourself? Would you be willing? Because that's what I was willing to do. Okay. These were the things that I did to get in the situation and to where I'm at today. So finding that individual that has the results that you want, I may not have all the results, but I have some of the results. So you got to be willing. Because what I understood is when the student is ready, the mentor appears. You know how I attracted the mentors that I have today? You know, I get a lot of love and I get a lot of appreciation, but I also get a lot of like side eyes, and I also get a lot of hate as well, low key, because a lot of people look at me and be like, yo, why does Nano get all the fire mentorship? Why does Nano have all these great relationships with all these great people? But what people don't understand, guys, is that they chose me. I didn't choose them. These mentors chose me. But why was that? Because I was ready as a student to receive mentorship. Okay. You know how many books I read? You know how many audios I listened to? How many events I went to? How much money I invested into myself? How many courses I bought? So the thing is, when you know somebody, right? For example, I know when somebody has been studying the information. I know when somebody really wants it. So when I see that person, I see myself in that person. So now I know how mentors choose their mentees, because they see, yo, this kid right here wants it. This kid has been studying the information. This kid is investing. He's at every event. He shows up constantly. He does what's required. Naturally, they're like, you know what? I want to put this kid under my wing. I want to help this kid a little bit more. I want to help him a little bit more. You know why? Because they see potential in you. They said, yo, if he was able to do this without no mentor, imagine what he could do if I do mentor him. If I do guide him. If I do give him all of these things. And it showed up. And did it show up right away? No. And I never complained. I never hated. My first mentors were Jim Rohn on YouTube. That was my first mentor ever. Outside of like my parents and stuff like that, like my first personal development mentor, his name was Jim Rohn. Best mentor, still to this day. It's crazy. I work so hard because one day I want to leave the legacy that Jim Rohn left. The fact that Jim Rohn has been passed away for over 20 years now, I think, and he's changed my life years after he passed. And the fact that I don't have the courtesy to even thank him or even shake his hand or give him a hug and thank him for changing my life is crazy. I want to leave that kind of legacy. Years after I'm gone, I'm still changing lives through my videos, my YouTubes, my podcast. That's called generational impact. I love him. I love Jim. I still listen to Jim to this day. Bob Proctor. I give a lot of credit to Bob Proctor as well. So you got to be very careful to who you're listening to, guys. This is why there was periods in my journey where I stopped listening to all music and I would only listen to audios and podcasts every day. I always wanted myself to be poured into at all times. All right? Because I understood in life, if you buy people's opinion, you buy their lifestyle. And look, it's funny how the basics work. And now I understand why my mentor told me. He said, Nano, you have to be very careful who you listen to. You gotta remember, if you are a master of this, it becomes a part of your subconscious. You know how I know this is a part of my subconscious? When people start talking to me and giving me advice, you know what's the first thought that pops up in my head? Does anybody wonder what's the first question that comes to my mind when people start talking to me or when people try to give me advice or mentorship? There you go. I ask right away, who am I listening to? That's the first thought that comes to my mind. Who am I listening to? Exactly, 7. Do they have the results that I want? Right away, it just pops. Boom. Would I trade places with this individual? Right? It just naturally, I don't even have to ask it. It literally, it just naturally pops to the screen of my mind. Nano, does this person have the results that you want? Who are you listening to? And as they're talking to me, this comes to my front screen of my mind. And it doesn't happen on a disrespectful basis. It's just something that naturally happens now because I've mastered this. Who am I listening to? And remember, guys, you can learn from everybody. One thing that sets me apart from a lot of people, believe it or not, guys, is that I learn from everybody. Just because someone is making less money than me does not mean I don't listen to them. Does not mean I do not listen to them, because a lot of people, they have good information. Sometimes they just haven't been able to apply it properly. That's why they haven't gotten the results. So me, I even learned from the people in my business, believe it or not, that have made less money than me, that have less experience than me in leadership. I learned from them as well. So I say that to you guys, never grow an ego because you think that you're better than somebody, or because you have more experience than somebody, or because you make more money than somebody, that you can't learn from those individuals. Don't ever make that mistake. Always keep your ears open to learn from other people, because you can always learn from others what to do, but you can also learn what not to do. I've learned from other people what not to do, how not to treat other people. I've had people come up to me that, if we were to do it in business perspectives, right? And if we were to keep it like on a business perspective, I make more money than them and I have more experience than them in a way, right? But they teach me things that I can learn. They show me areas that I can improve on. They give me ideas that I can use. Exactly, Erica. I love that you said that. She said, be open-minded, but guarded. Understand that not everybody also has the best intentions, but be open-minded. Don't be the person that be like, oh, because you don't make the money that I want, I can't listen to you. Don't be that person either, because some people have taken this to a whole nother level. I know people that don't listen to nobody unless that person makes more money than them. I'm not that person. You know why? And let me tell you why I'm not that person. Because I've been the person that has had great information, but I was broke. And I know people who wouldn't listen to me because I made less money than them. But I had the right information. I was just in the process of applying it. So I hadn't got the results yet. And I know people who didn't listen to the things that I had to tell them because I didn't have the results that they wanted. But in reality, I had great information to share with them. So I learned from those individuals not to do that, because I remember being a broke entrepreneur with great information that I learned from books, from events and stuff like that, that I would try to teach other people, but they wouldn't listen to me because I didn't have the results. So I always learned, I got to keep myself open-minded to everybody, even if somebody doesn't make more money than me, because I know that they can still teach me information that they learned from other books and other events and other things that, because I was still in the hood. I was still too close to them. Exactly, G, that's what it is. So I've always learned that. Keep my opinions open. This is how it works. There's some of you guys on this call right now. You guys have great information to share with people. You guys have read the books. You've been to events. You have the experience. But guess what? The problem is people won't take that information that you know serious because you haven't changed your life yet. Because you're still too close to them. You still go to the same grocery stores as them. You still walk the same streets as them. You still go to the same gyms as them. And they still see you they haven't seen a drastic change in your life yet. So some of these people will literally, whatever you tell them will go in one ear and it go out the other. They have to see the life change. But you got to remember this, guys. Who are you listening to? And the last thing I'm going to say, because I've been talking way too much on this one slide right here. This is way too long. I should have been on the next slide already. But I say that to say this, guys. Remember, our worst enemy is ourselves. The worst enemy we have is ourselves. That's why we need to work on our minds every day and change the way that we think, because we are the people. We always listening to ourselves at all time. This is why I recommended this book to you guys last call. What to say when you talk to yourself. Because we're always talking to ourselves. We are always talking to ourselves, and we are the ones that we listen to we're the ones that we listen to the most in reality. So we need to be the ones that are the most developed. This is why reading every day is so important. This is why listening to podcasts and audios every day is important. This is why investing into events is important. This is why paying for mentorship is important. Okay, falling asleep to this audios and these things are all important, so you can change the thoughts that are going in your head, so that you can change the way that you're speaking to yourself. So that's number one. Who do you listen to? Let's go to number two. I'm gonna run through a little bit faster now. What is your teachability index? This one is key. Oh my God, Angelica, I love the movie, the Inside Out movie. If you ever want to watch a good kids movie, you need to watch Inside Out. Honestly, the best kids movie I've ever watched in my whole entire life. It's like watching personal development for kids. Such a good movie, guys. If you have not watched it, I highly recommend it. Oh my God, like my life, my perspective on life changed after watching that movie. So you have to watch it, guys. Please. Inside Out. Watch the first one and then watch the second one. They're incredible. But let's go into basic number two, which is, what is your teachability index? Now, let's talk about this because this is important. These are the two ways to determine your teachability index, okay? Now, here it is. Let's talk about this. Your teachability index is measured by two things. Write this down. This is probably one of the most important slides here. Okay. Your willingness to learn and your willingness to accept change. Okay. Now here we go. Your willingness to learn. What does that have to do with? It's very self-explanatory. Understanding that leaders are readers. Okay. What audios are you listening to daily? What events are you investing in? Mentorship calls, leadership lunches, morning routines. Okay. Right now, guys, on this call, before you answer this question that's at the bottom, I want to ask you guys this question. I want to ask you guys, on a scale of 1 to 10, What is your willingness to learn? But before you answer that question, understand that a 10 willingness to learn means you read every day, you listen to audios and podcasts every day, you go to events at least once a month, you invest into mentorship calls monthly, you invest into learning lunches, you do your morning routine on a day-to-day basis. If that's a 10 out of 10, that's a 10 willingness to learn. In the chat, let me know right now, what is your willingness to learn based off of what I said? Which means if you're going to say 10, make sure before you say 10, are you reading every day? Do you listen to audios and podcasts every single day? Do you go to events on a monthly basis? Okay. Are you going on learning lunches where you sit down and you ask your coach or your mentor or your leader questions to learn? And do you have a morning routine that you follow daily? Okay. I could honestly say right now, I'm at about it. I would say I'm about a 9, 8, 9. I wouldn't say 10. I wouldn't say 10 just yet. Okay. Because there is days I slip up, you know, I do go to events. I do listen to audios a lot. So I'll give myself a 9 because I have some slip ups. Okay. So I won't, it's been a while since I've done a morning lunch, a learning lunch. I see some 5s. I see some 7.5s. Okay. For all of us, you know, think about this, guys. Somebody said like a 2. Sheesh, Vanessa, what's going on over there, sis? Talk to me. But the good thing is, guess what? We have time to grow, sis. That's the beauty of it. The best part about it is you got to make sure that now you grow from it, and you got to be real. That's the beauty of it. Now, this is where it gets real, because remember, it's not about what you know, it's about what you do, right? And at the end of the day, that's just one side of your teachability index, which is what? Your ability to learn. All right. Now, the most important part of it is your willingness to accept change. Okay, because you could jump on Mornings with Nano every day. You could read all the books. You can listen to all the audios. You can go to all the events. You can do your morning routine every single day. Okay. But are you willing to apply that information? Because knowledge isn't power, applied knowledge is. So are you applying what you're learning? Are you making the necessary change? All right. This is what it's all about. I know you can't see the bottom right of that, but this is what it's all about. Now, here, you got to also ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your willingness to accept change? Now, before you answer that question, okay, you got to ask yourself, yo, I've learned about a morning routine and I do it. I've learned about, you know, for example, you know, a morning routine. I've learned about, you know, stepping out of my comfort zone, and I've been stepping out of my comfort zone. I've learned about waking up earlier, and I've been waking up earlier. You know, I learned about, you know, posting on social media, and now I'm posting more on social media. It's taking the information that you learn and applying it. How good are you at that? On a scale of 1 to 10, guys, where are you when it comes to applying the information? Let me know in the chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, how willing are you to accept change? Are you willing to accept the change? Okay. A 10 would be that you apply everything that you learn. Like, yo, you apply it all. You're like, yo, I learned about this, applied it. I learned about that, I applied it. You're really, really good at applying the information. Okay. I see some 10s, I see some 8s, I see some 7s, I see some 9s, I see some 4s. Okay. Yeah, of course. Obviously, if I see the value in it and applies to you, absolutely. Now, here's the thing that you need to do. If you want to know what your teachability index is, all right, if you want to know what your teachability index is, you need to multiply your willingness to learn by your willingness to accept change, and that will tell you what your teachability index is. Okay, so in the chat, give me your teachability index percentage. Multiply willingness to learn by your willingness to accept change. Let me know the final number. Let me know your final number. I'm going to give myself an 81. I'm going to do 9 and 9 for me. I got 81 for mine. And that's me being 100% honest. Okay. There we go. I see some 80s. I see some 49s. See some 36, 56, 77. See some 64s. I see some 70s, some 65s. See a 30. Sheesh. I wouldn't say horrible, but you're a work in progress for sure. Work in progress. 80s. Okay. Now, this is what it's all about here. I need 19% improvement. Now that you know where you are, now you need to work on areas of improvement. Everybody here should want a teachability index above an 80. Okay. Above an 80, I would say, is good. Above 90 is great. 100 is perfect, almost, in a way. All right. Anything, if we go by the school grades, right? A 70 to 79 is a C. 80 to 89 is a B, and then 90 to 99 to 100 is an A, right? This is, and remember, your teachability index has a lot to do with the results that you get. Okay. That will determine the results that you get, guys. I want you to understand that. So I know you guys, remember, this is not like school. You gotta treat this a little bit different. Everyone here should strive to have, including myself, a 90% and above. All of us should all strive to have a 90. Even me at 81, it's good, but not great. We all need to shoot for 90%. Don't get me wrong. I've had seasons in my life where my teachability index was above a 90. Okay. Right now, it's been an 80. It kind of fluctuates sometimes. But you need to be understanding of it, and you got to get back to what it was that you were doing. All right. You got to get back to the application of the information, because believe it or not, your teachability index can be one of the things that's holding you back. So you got to get in the habit of being a real good leader when it comes to reading and learning every day, but also now applying the information. So if everybody understands teachability index, put a 2 in the chat box for me so we can go to number 3. All right. Teachability index is very, very, very powerful. Okay. Very powerful. The next one, basic number 3. Basic number 3 is the training balance scale. Training balance scale. Now, what is your training balance scale? Let's talk about it. All right. Your training balance scale helps you understand this. Once I understood this, my life changed for real, for real. With this, my life changed. Your training balance scale basically states that success is 1% physical, 99% spiritual. Okay. 1% physical, 99% spiritual. Now, if you think about this, guys, it's a little bit extreme, right? To think that everything that we do, we only focus on the 1%, which is the physical, the phone calls, the events, the trainings, the studying, the meetups, the one-on-ones. Anything that's physical work is only 1% of your success. So think about this, guys. You've only been focused, if you're only focused on the physical work, you've only been focused on the 1% of it. The 99% of it is the spiritual, the inside, the thoughts, your self-image, your self-talk, understanding the laws, the higher faculties, right? This is where it all happens. Remember, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. All right? We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So we got to make sure that we are putting in the work on the spiritual side. Okay? You got to work on your thoughts. You got to work on your self-image. You got to work on your self-talk. All right? This is so important. You got to understand the laws. You got to understand all of this. Because if you don't, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to be focused on the wrong things. You know, for a long time, for the first 2 years of my journey, I was stuck at the same place because I was only focused on the physical. I was focused on making the most phone calls, doing the events, the trainings, the studying, the meetups, the one-on-ones. I did all the physical work. I was really good at doing the physical work. I was the best at doing the physical work. But for some reason, I couldn't get through to it. I couldn't get through it. And then somebody told me, Nano, you got to focus on the spiritual. You start working on your thoughts. How do you change your thoughts? Well, you got to read more. You got to listen to more audiobooks, more podcasts. You got to find a mentor. Nano, how do you work on your self-image? Well, you got to see yourself as the person you want to be. Who do you want to be? You want to be a millionaire? You want to be a six-figure earner? See yourself as that person. Start walking as that person. Start talking like that person. Start dressing like that person. Change your self-image. Change the way you see yourself, right? Self-talk, the affirmations. I am successful. I am wealthy. I am abundant. I am a money magnet. I am. I started to talk to myself different. I started to understand the laws. The law of polarity, the law of cause and effect, the law of gestation, the law of rhythm, okay? The law of relativity. I started to understand these laws. So important. I started to use my higher faculties, my reason, my will, my perception, imagination, my will, intuition, memory. I started to use all of my higher faculties. This is what it's all about. If you know these things, right? If you understand these things will change your life. If you understand the laws, yes, the law of detachment, an incredible law, right? If you learn all of these different laws, all of these different, ideas, self-talk, the images, the thoughts, all of this stuff, this is the stuff that could really, really change your life if you allow it. Okay? You have to allow this information to change your life. You have to buy into this information. You have to make this information yours. Every day, reading the right books. Every day, seeing yourself for more than what you actually are. Every day, speaking to yourself positively. Every day, understanding the laws. Law of gestation states that everything takes time to manifest. You know that it's going to take you time. What does the law of rhythm state? Okay, that everything follows a natural cycle. What goes up must come down. The wave comes in and it goes out. You got to understand that you're going to have good days and you're going to have character building days. Okay, the law of relativity states that everything, you can't put a value on something until you relate it to something else. You think your situation is bad until you relate it to somebody else's situation, and then you realize that your situation is not as bad as you made it out to be. The law of polarity states that everything has an opposite. There's positive, there's negative, there's up, there's down. There's inside, there's outside. Another one can't exist without the other. Okay? You got to understand these things, guys. These are things that you can't live life without knowing them. This is all very important information that needs to be understood and mastered over the years. You see how I'm able to talk about these things, how I'm able to remember the laws, how I'm able to understand my self-image, my self-talk, how I'm able to talk about these things. You guys got to get to that point with this information as well. To the point where you can just speak about it naturally. You know everything. You know all the laws. You know your higher faculties. You understand the importance of your self-talk. You know how to work on your self-image. You're always constantly working on your thoughts because you're always reading good books. This is the side of success that a lot of people don't talk about, which is the spiritual side of success. This is one of the most important things. So many of us are focused too much on the physical success, not enough on the spiritual success. We got to get clocked in with the spiritual success. So that's that when it comes to what? The training balance scale. That's number 3. And then last but not least, number 4 are the 4 stages of learning. Okay, here we go. The 4 stages of learning. This you have to know. So the other day, I'm on a phone the other day, and some guy tells me, one of my friends actually that I played baseball with, I jumped on a call with him, and he's like, yo, I recently learned about the 4 stages of learning. And he tries to teach me it. But the thing was, he knew it, but he didn't know it. And he's like, yeah, bro, the first level of learning is this. I think he said conscious incompetence. And I'm like, nope, it's actually not. The first level of learning is unconscious incompetence. And he was like, how do you know? And I'm like, bro, because this is what I study. He tried to teach me this, but I knew it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, I know this. I know the levels of learning. The first one is unconscious incompetence, which means unconscious means you don't know. Incompetence means you can't do. This is where you start. Everybody starts at this level of learning. For example, if you're watching this for the first time, if this is the first time you ever hear me do this training, real quick, in the chat, put a 1 in the chat if this is the first time you ever hear me do this training. I just want to see if this is if this is the first time that anyone hears me do this training. Let me see. Do we have anybody who's watching this for the first time? Okay, I got one person over here. We got a couple, not many. Actually, not a lot, actually. So you guys have heard me do this training. That's funny. But we have a lot of people on Instagram, actually, that are putting 1s in the chat. Crickets. Okay, so Jasa hasn't seen it. You see Christina, Antonio, right? So for example, okay. So for example, yeah, we all regulars over here, bro. Nah, facts. So for example, for example, for Jasa, who put a 1, Jasa Ramos. On Instagram, we have Christina, we have Jennifer, we have Antonio. For them, before they heard this training, or Chelsea as well here, they were unconscious incompetent about this, which meant that they didn't know, so they couldn't do anything about it. Okay? They didn't know, so they couldn't do anything about it. Unconscious incompetence, right? That's the first level of learning, where people are not aware, so they can't do anything about it. The second level of learning is conscious incompetence, right? Which means you're conscious, which means you know, but you're still incompetent, which means you don't do. Now, believe it or not, guys, this is where most people are. Okay? This is where most people are. People know what they got to do, but they still don't do it. People know they got to go to the gym, but they still don't go to the gym. People know they got to be doing a morning routine, but they still don't do their morning routine. People know that they got to be prospecting daily. People know that they got to be, studying every day. People know that they got to be doing these things every day, but they still don't do it. That's called conscious incompetence. And believe it or not, there's some of you on this call that may be at this level. You know what you need to be doing every day, but you still don't do it. This is a bad place to be. You don't want to be at this level, guys. Because think about it. You know better, but you're not doing better. You don't want to be here. All right. I spent a lot of time here. I spent a lot of time knowing, yo, Neno, you know you got to be waking up earlier, right? And I still didn't wake up earlier. Yo, Neno, you know you got to be in the gym, right? And I still would choose not to go to the gym. You know you got to be reading, right? You know you got to be doing this, and I still wouldn't do it. You don't want to be at the level 2 of learning. The level you want to be at is at level 3. You want to live at level 3 of learning, which is conscious competence, which means you know and you do. You know you got to read, and you're reading every day. You know you got to be in the gym, and you're in the gym every day. You know you got to eat healthier, better options, and you're choosing better, healthier options. You know you got to be doing your morning routine, and you do your morning routine. You know you got to be posting on social media, and you post on social media. You know you got to have better self-talk, and you're doing the self-talk. You know you got to be practicing imagination and self-image, and you're doing it every single day. This is the level that all of us need to be at for the rest of the year, at the conscious competence level. You got to know and you got to do. And then if you do that long enough, eventually you get to the unconscious competence level, which is second nature. It's automatic. You've done the incredible amount of reps. Right? It's like tying your shoes. Right? If I were to tell you guys right now, yo, tie your shoes, you guys wouldn't sit there and be like, okay, let me hold up the 2 laces. I'm going to cross them, go under. Then I'm going to do the bunny ears. And you wouldn't sit there. You wouldn't even think about it. It would just be boom, 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 done. It'd be easy. Right? It's like getting in the car, putting on your seatbelt. You don't even think about it. Loop, swoop, pull. Exactly. Right? It'll be easy. Because why? You've done it so many times. You've done it too many times. Okay? You got to get like that with your habits. Like, for example, the moment I wake up, my mind is trained, morning routine. Right? Morning routine. My mind is programmed that way. All right. I have a lot of things that I've unconsciously, competently have applied to my life that now is automatic for me. All right. My goals are automatic. I've repeated them so many times to myself. If I were to ask you right now what your goal is and you don't know your goals, if you can't tell me your goals immediately, you're not unconscious competent about your goals. This is a very important part of success right here. You want to get unconsciously competent with the right habits. Because the thing is, some of us, we've been unconsciously competent with the wrong habits. Want me to give you an example? Waking up and grabbing your phone is something that a lot of us are unconsciously competent with. We don't even think about it. The first thing we do, we wake up and we grab our phones. Who's guilty of it? Let's be honest. How many of us are guilty of that? Wake up, first thing we do is grab our phones. Let's be real. That's something that some of us are unconscious and competent about. Unconscious competent about. We don't even think about it. We just do it. It's so natural. Wake up, first thing we do, grab our phone. Why? Because how many times have we done it? How many times have we done that? Hundreds and thousands of times. Hundreds and thousands of times. Hundreds and thousands of times. So because we've done it so many times, it's become an unconscious competent habit. So that just goes to show that you can create habits, but you gotta understand now how to create the right habits, how to become unconscious competent with the right habits. Imagine if you could become unconscious competent with reading, with listening to audiobooks, with going to the gym, with practicing prayer every morning. with reading your goal cards out loud. That's the name of the game. And then here's the final thing. If you want to, the basic number 5 is master the 4 basics. Get yourself at the unconscious competent level with all 4 of the basics. Get to the unconscious level with who you listen to. Get on the unconscious competent level with your teachability index, with your training balance scale, and with the 4 levels of learning. Guys, I've done this training so many times and I've taught it so many times that I didn't even need the PowerPoint. I only put the PowerPoint up there because I remembered that I had it. But in reality, I was going to do that training off the top of my head. I didn't need a PowerPoint. I didn't need any of that stuff. I know this training like the back of my hand. That's how many times I've ran that training because I've done it so many times. How long did it take you to go from 3 to 4? It depends how consistent you are, Sophia. The consistency is the key, but it takes time because to get on an unconscious competent level with anything, you have to consistently do it over a long period of time. It may take you anywhere from 6 months to a year of consistently doing something every single day to be able to get it on an unconscious competent level, right? Yeah, you use the PowerPoint for the note takers. Exactly, Jasmine. Really, that's really who I use it for. So you guys don't miss the nuggets. But guys, this is a very important topic. I'll probably teach this maybe one more time before the end of the year. I like to teach this training at least once a quarter. I think it's such an important, even for me, even as I was on this call teaching it to you guys, it reminded me how important it is. What really hit me for me was more of the training balance scale. I like, I got to tap in a little bit more to the spiritual side. Even just listening to it again and teaching it to you guys again reminded me how important it is for me to start tapping in again with the spiritual. I tap into the spiritual side, but tap in a little bit deeper because I'm on a different level now. I gotta leverage these areas a lot more. Okay, yes, I got to the 6 figures, but now how do I get to the 7 figures? I got to tap in a little bit more. My teachability index got to be a little bit higher. Okay, I gotta become unconscious competent with better habits. I gotta make sure I'm listening to the right people. That's something I don't really worry about too much because I listen very, very well. But I know I gotta improve in these other areas. Okay, so guys, these are the 5 basics. Number 1, okay, who do you listen to? Number 2, your teachability index. Number 3, training balance scale. Number 4, the 4 levels of learning. And number 5 is master the 4 basics. Master the 4 basics and your life is going to be the best. Remember, if you master the basics, you master your life. I'm a master of my life today because I mastered those 4 basics right there. All right. And every day I'm getting better. Every day I'm improving and every day my life is getting better. Okay, guys, so put a 555 in the chat box if you guys are committed to mastering the basics. Okay, I was actually very surprised when I was like, who's listening to this for the first time, and nobody said nothing. It was actually pretty funny to see that. To everybody be like, oh, we've all heard this. But that's good, right? That's good that you guys have heard it, but have you mastered it is the question. The real question is, have you mastered everything that we talked about here? Okay, do you know it off the top of your head? Remember, guys, I want you guys to know this off the top of your head. So if I were to see you in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month, and I was to ask you, yo, Tayshawn, what are the basics? You got to be able to tell me basic number 1 is who I listen to. Number 2 is teachability index. Number 3 is training balance scale. Number 4 are the 4 levels of learning. And then I'm going to be like, okay, cool. How do you measure the teachability index? Well, number 1 is the willingness to learn. Number 2 is the willingness to accept change. Awesome. Let me ask you a question. What is the 3rd level of learning? Conscious competence. Okay. How do I get to the 4th level of learning, which is what? Unconscious competence. I got to do it enough, right? I got to be able to ask you guys those questions and you be able to answer them like that. Boom, 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 like easy. Patty cake. It's night work. If you can't answer those questions yet, then you need to learn this. You need to really study this and practice this every day until you are a master of them. I got to be able to go up to you and be like, hey, what's the second level of learning? You got to be able to be there and respond right away. I know the second level of learning. What's the level that holds us back? What's a side of spiritual success that I got to work on every day if I want to change? Self-image. What are the higher faculties? You got to be able to tell me all 6 higher faculties, one by one. Bam, 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 bam. Do you know the laws? Can you give me the 7 natural laws of the universe? There's a lot more to it than it is, right? You got to know the basics, all right, guys? So with that being said, that is the end of the call. I did go longer than I usually go, but it was because I spent too much time talking about who do you listen to. So I do apologize about that. But with that being said, guys, that does wrap up today's call. Please take the time to study this information, go over it multiple times. You know, I have a podcast on this. You know, I've done this training many times. Still to this day, one of my favorite trainings, and it's always good to re-listen to this training over and over and over again. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. There is a new episode for the Mornings with Nano podcast that's going to be dropping very, very soon. So stay tuned with that. Please subscribe to the podcast, to the one on Apple, on Spotify. You know, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on Amazon, we're on Pandora. We are all over. Okay, so please make sure that you guys are subscribing, listening to season 4. Season 4 is filled with a lot of value. And when I tell you guys to listen to podcasts, listen to mine as well. I have a lot of good value that I'm giving to you guys all for free. We just launched Threads with the Mornings with Nano Threads. We're very excited about that. So make sure that you guys are plugged in with that as well. Follow me on Instagram at Long Live Nano. Yeah, we got it on Apple. We have it on Apple, Eduardo. You know, follow me on Instagram, follow my threads, join my private mentorship group on Instagram as well. And let's keep growing, guys. Let's keep sharing this with others and let's keep elevating our lives. I'm going to do a quick prayer for us before we go, just some gratitude for God, and we'll end it right there, guys. So quick prayer, quick gratitude, and let's end it right there. Father God, thank you so much for allowing us to wake up on this beautiful Thursday morning. Today, we don't want to ask for anything. Today, we just want to say thank you for our health. Thank you for our mind, our body, and our spirits. Thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for community. Thank you for allowing us to show up each and every single day and learn from each other. Thank you for the lessons every day. Thank you for the challenges that you bring into our lives that help us become better versions of ourselves. Thank you for removing anything in our lives that isn't serving us. Thank you for healing our hearts. Thank you for healing us from anything that we need healing from. Thank you for food, for the roof over our heads, for the family, for the friends, for everything around us, Father. You have blessed us unbelievably, and we are just so grateful for all the little things that you do for us each and every single day. We want to say thank you for that, but we also want to say thank you ahead of time for all the amazing things that you have in store for us for the rest of the year. We are committed to becoming the best version of ourselves, and we will do it with your glory and to build the kingdom, Father. We love you so much, and we appreciate you. In God's name we pray. Amen. Amen, 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 guys. So sometimes we don't even really got to say anything, but thank you, fam. It's all we already blessed beyond belief. We have work, we have bodies, we have health. As long as we have health, we're blessed. Everything else it'll take care of itself as long as you focus on you, fam. So we got to thank God that we are alive and that we woke up today, because guess what, guys? Some people didn't wake up today. So no matter what your situation is right now, just know that you are blessed because you woke up today and you have a roof over your head. You have $1,000 phone that you're watching this presentation or this call off of. You have working Wi-Fi. You are blessed more than you could ever imagine. Yeah, Eunice, I'll check right after this call. And let's keep running it up. All right, guys. So I love y'all. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys next Tuesday for another episode of Mornings with Nano. God bless, fam. All right, guys. Thank you.